Hi, I'm Sam Wolthuis with Earth Outdoor, pro shooter for Hoyt Archery, and I'm going to give you a couple tips today on things you can do to make your shooting better, whether you're shooting tournament, hunting, or just practicing in your backyards to make it more safe and more enjoyable for you. Today, I'm going to give you the basics of how to sight your bow in. Basically, a bow differs in a rifle in that you're moving your front sight rather than your rear sight. On a rifle, when you sight a rifle in, you're moving your rear sight as opposed to your front sight. What this does is it creates a reverse effect. With a rifle, you'd move your rear sight the direction that you want your bullet to go. With a bow, you move your front sight the opposite way you want your arrow to go. So, if you're shooting and your arrow's impacting to the right of the target, you're going to move your sight to the right. This sight right here is a CB Tech Hybrid, and it has micro adjust, toolless micro adjust, where you can loosen it and move it by hand. You would loosen the knob and move your sight to the right. If you turn the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, if you move the knob to the right, tightening it, it's going to move the sight to the right. You'd click it to the right, which would move your arrow to the left, and vice versa. Another way to think of it is move your sight, if your arrow's impacting right, move your sight the direction that the arrow's impacting. If you're impacting low, move your sight lower. If you're impacting high, move your sight higher. Something else that can affect it is your rear peep. It's important that you have your rear peep served in securely. If your peep's not served in or secured, it could fly out when you shoot. And that can create a dangerous situation because it can fly forward, strike the riser or the sight, and bounce back and hit you in the eye. It's very important that you have your sight served in securely. Here at Earth, we serve above, below, up one leg, around the peep, and then up the other leg, and that allows it to stay stationary. And even if you're walking through the woods or carrying your bow by your string and you bump it, it's not going to move it. It's served in there securely. And that's important because if that peep gets moved just a fraction of a bit, it's going to move your arrow impact a long ways from where you're trying to hit or where you're expecting to hit. Serve it in securely where it's not going to move, and make sure that you have it correct at the same height. A good way to check your peep height is to draw, come to anchor with your eyes closed, just a natural anchor. And when you open your eyes and look at the target, you should be looking directly through that peep. If you're looking and you can see the bottom of the peep in your sight picture, you're going to want to move the sight down, the peep down a little bit. If you can see the bottom edge of the peep in your sight picture, you're going to want to move that peep up a little bit. Another thing that's important is that you have the correct sized peep for the application that you're shooting. If you're shooting low light situations, hunting at dusk or dawn, you're going to want a larger sized peephole. The darker situation is going to call for a larger peep to allow more light through. And also, the peep size is important that it be sized with the housing of your sight. What you want is for this housing frame to be framed inside of your peep opening. That way it fills the entire hole of your peep. Because when you shoot, you don't want to center the pin in the hole of your peep. You want to center the housing in the hole of your peep and place the pin on the target. It's going to be a lot easier to find this circumference. A lot of people in a lot of sites, they have a bright ring here that allows you to see that ring inside your peep. That's a very good idea for centering your peep, especially in low light situations. But center that sight housing in your peep and place your pin on the target. If you've got a row of 5 pins, don't try and center an individual pin. Center the entire housing. Use the appropriate pin for your distance. Place it on the target, and you'll be good to go. Just if your peep is larger, you're going to need a larger sight housing to fill that hole. And also the distance that your sight runs in or out from your bow is going to make a difference. The farther your housing is from the bow, the smaller this is going to appear in your peep. The closer it is, the larger it's going to appear in your peep. So that's important that you have those sized up correctly so that you can center that housing within your peephole to make the most accurate shot possible. And that's the tip that I have for you today, and I hope you can use it to shoot more accurately and be successful in the field and in tournaments.